Hey there guys, it's Tim, and I got another message to share with you this week, and this goes along with my overarching theme of it's all about your mentality. It's all about how you look at things when it comes to your health and fitness journey or any big goal that you want to accomplish in your lifetime. How much belief do you have that you're actually going to be able to make this thing happen? That's very key. If you don't believe in it when you're going into it and you go through the motions, you're probably not going to get the results you want. So that's just a little bit of a side note and, like I said, an overarching theme. But the actual message of today's video is to learn how to focus on the little victories. And what this means is, most of us, we get caught up in the big ticket items, the end result goal that we're looking for. So whether that's to lose 50 pounds, whether that's to have a six-pack, we look at those things as, that's what I want. And as we're going through our journey, when we're not getting that, or it doesn't look like we're making progress towards that because we don't see the visible results in the mirror, or, we take a picture of ourselves like our before and afters don't look all that much different, then we get dejected, we get demoralized, and that's one of the things that causes a lot of us to quit. Because we're like, what's the point of going through this struggle if I'm not going to be seeing the results that I really want? And it is a struggle, that's something that we have to embrace coming into this. And my video last week talked a little bit about this. There's a certain amount of resistance that we have to just embrace is going to be there, that this is going to be a difficult journey. If you want change in your life, you're going to have to do things that you haven't been doing and that you're not used to doing, you're not comfortable doing. And so this is an important factor to start with, that whole great mentality. But along with that, we have to learn to celebrate the little victories as opposed to just the end result goal, because if we are only focusing on that and we're not getting what we're expecting, at least, and definitely not as fast as we want it, it's going to be very hard to stay the path. I'm going to give you an example of how you can do this in your life. Now, those of you who know my story know that I had a back injury. Many years ago, I ruptured a disc in my lower back, had to have surgery. Fortunately, I was able to rehab from it and get back on track with P90X, but that took me a few years, and I was mentally depleted from that whole situation. I had to regain and rebuild that mental toughness and that mental belief that I could still do extreme workouts, that I could still, my body was still capable of these things, because until I was able to prove that to myself, I was very skeptical and very negative as far as what I was actually able to do anymore now that I had this injury. Now, more recently, I've been having some problems with my back. Again, it hasn't been to the extreme of what I had before, but it has made it to where I can't do my normal workouts. Certain things like sitting down for long periods of time, I can't do anything with any kind of impact right now. It hurts my back. And so I've had to take a big step back as far as what I'm able to do. And it's a frustrating process. But if I took all of my time and all of my energy and focused just on the frustration and just what I was not able to do anymore, it's like, oh man, I can't do plyometric workouts anymore. I can't do T25. I can't go for a run outside because my back hurts too much. This sucks. And what's the point? Anything that I do is going to hurt a little bit. So I might as well just lay down and rest and not even bother with it. That's what would happen if all I did was focus on those negative aspects and focus on those things that don't make me feel good. But instead, this time around, now that I've had that experience before and gone through that sort of mental process that I did before with feeling dejected and letting that overwhelm me, now I realize, okay, this is something that I have to deal with. I might not be able to do everything that I could normally do, but there's still certain things I can do, certain movements that don't bother me. I've done some modified T25 workouts, so they've worked out great. Still gets my heart rate up, which has allowed me to get more blood pumping through my muscles, my veins, which loosens them up enough for me to be able to stretch them, which ultimately makes my back feel a little bit better. Now, just a few weeks ago, if I sat down for 10 minutes in the car, it was starting to get really uncomfortable and painful. And then when I get out of the car, whoa, that was far worse. Every time I had to get out of the car, I'd have to kind of get up halfway and let my body kind of loosen and adjust to it. And then I could stand up a little bit more. I mean, I looked like an 80-year-old man getting out of the car. It was embarrassing. And I could barely bend down to tie my shoes. It was actually really challenging to tie my shoes. I wanted to start wearing loafers or flip-flops every day for that reason, but I didn't. I took those little steps. I rested where I needed to. I iced where I needed to. I did the workouts I could. I stretched where I could, foam rolled where I could to loosen them up a little bit. And over the last few weeks, I've gotten gradually better every single day. Now I can bend down to tie my shoes with no problems. Now I'm sitting in the car right now. I just drove about an hour and a half down to where I'm about to go to work, and my back is feeling okay. And so I'm choosing to focus on those little victories. See how much better I feel in the last 2 weeks. No, I'm not 100%, not even close, but I'm so much better than I was 2 weeks ago. And if I was only looking at, I want to be 100% pain-free, then I'd still be really frustrated. I'd still be really dejected, and I'd probably be in more pain than I am right now because I wouldn't be doing the things to help me get better and to improve every day. So this is what I mean by embracing and celebrating the little victories. This doesn't have to be for an injury. This is in your workouts, If you're trying to lose a lot of weight and you're taking before pictures and you're paying attention to the scale and that number doesn't change every week, that can be dejecting. But if you start to focus on the little things like when you wake up, do you feel a little bit more energetic? Does your mood feel slightly better than it did last week? When you do your workouts, are you a little bit less out of breath? Are you able to go a little bit further into each movement than you were the week before or 2 weeks before? It happens gradually. This is all a gradual process, and we have to learn to pay attention to those gradual changes on a regular basis so that we can see that we are making progress, even when it doesn't look like it, even when the scale isn't changing, even when our appearance isn't changing, even when we're not seeing the definition come through in our stomach or our arms like we really want to. We start to see that we're improving bit by bit, whether it's mentally, emotionally, physically. Start journaling out. I say this a lot, but it's really important that you get connected by journaling out how you feel on a week-to-week basis, which moves were hard, which moves were easier, and then you can start to gauge your progress as you go forward and see those little changes. If you're doing a weight workout, they always say write down your numbers, write down your weights, your reps. You got to do this to track your progress because that gives you a timeline. It basically shows you where you started and where you've come to. And as you see those little changes, even when you're not seeing the visible changes, you'll know you're making progress. And that is a huge morale boost. It's a huge positive injection into your mind, and that gives you the energy to keep going and to push harder the next week so that those results keep coming and you build up momentum, consistency. It's like the big snowball rolling down the hill. It amplifies as you keep going with it. So I said a lot. I was really passionate about this message. I hope this resonated with you. If you have questions or comments, please leave them down in the comments section below. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.